What's up guys, Barrygaming here, back with some more Project Diablo 2, and today I'm giving you guys a bit of an update. I know we're probably on day what? 1, 2, 3, 4, like day 4, day 5 of the season. Granted, I've only put somewhere between 12 to 16 hours in total, and I want to give you guys an update on our Rapture build, because yes, I went straight into Leap the second it is possible, and you guys can see an update. You're gonna see some really good luck so far. So day 1 finds that we found on this build, we found a Shaco in the pits. Yes, day 1 we found a Shaco. Granted, it only got a 1 socket corruption, still sold for a decent amount. We found a 5/5 fire facet that was red, and that actually sold pretty well. We also found a jaw day 1, as well as a couple other like really good bases. You can see right here, I still have like a couple bases left over, but most of the stuff has already moved on. We found a lot of S stuff. I found an F sacred armor. That was absolutely amazing. I guess people probably want it for things like innocence and stuff like that. We generated a lot of resources. Now, I kind of want to go over the transition that happened. Once we got to about level 68, we decided to jump into Hell Pits. Hell Pits is probably one of the easiest places to farm for any build very early on. If you guys don't know where it is, or you've never done it before, one thing I'll show you guys here, you guys can see a little bit of preview of what my gear setup is doing now without even seeing. I'll show you my gear here in a minute. I'll definitely show it to you. But this is pretty much the run I would do on day 1. There's a bunch of elite packs along the way too that you can kill. But even as a regular leap barb, this is a very easy one to do. Now, just note, this is not a strategy I would do as a hardcore player. This is a softcore player build, because I just wanted to get to generating resources as quickly as possible. Level 68 is possible, but just keep in mind, I died about every other game, and even with those deaths and everything, still ended up getting there pretty good. So go into the pits right here. That was my run, and then fully clearing the pits is essentially what we did since level 68. Now, what did we wear for gear during that? Well, it was pretty tough early on. However, we did get, where did I put that gear? Yes, we found an ethereal Colossus Vulge very early on, and we were running a Purity Rune Word. This new Purity Rune Word is very, very strong because it only costs an Eth Thull. However, one thing to note, I'll show you guys right here. Actually, do I even have, I don't, wait, I have to unlock. Can I put it on? Yeah, I can. With this Rune Word, just be prepared. Your mana is going to go away very, very quickly down here. You can see how it drains very quickly. If you're waiting between packs, this can be an issue. So just be prepared. As good of a rune word it is, it can be very, very sketchy to run. Essentially what I did is, once I then grinded enough resources, I was able to build my Rapture very easily, because I already found the jaw, so I only needed low vex. That was very easy with a couple things I had at my disposal. Now, one thing that is very, very good to do in the early game as a barbarian, and I actually have it on my main my merc right now, just a very basic merc setup, I got an entire set of Immortal Kings here. Now, just going for a +3 combat skills, no socket, no corruption, IK chest piece, that only ran me about 5 World Stone shards. The helmet I got for 1, the belt I got for 1, the boots and gloves I got for maybe 2 or 3 apiece. So all in all, less than 10 World Stone shards got me an entire IK set. Now, why is that big? Because not only do you get 8% physical damage reduction on this helmet, you get 20 right there. It doesn't show in green, it's a little further up. It's like right here. You're getting 20 physical damage reduction, so that's 28 physical damage reduction just by running the IK set. Beyond that, you're getting 25 magic fine over here. You're getting both your life and mana leech from your gloves. You're getting tons of magic fine by putting perfect topazes in here. You get upwards of 90 magic fine on the helm, and then just went to Larzuk and got 1 socket for another 24 with another perfect topaz, running a very quick and easy 20% magic fine. What you also get on the IK boots is half freeze duration, so all you have to do is craft like a what is it, brilliant, it's the new craft I think it uses the diamonds, right? The brilliant craft, that might be what it is. Just make a ring that has some leech on it or something with some crafting and get half freeze duration. Bam, right there. You don't even need a Raven Frost on day one. And literally throwing this gear on with some random rings. You can see right here, I'm even just running 2 half freeze duration rings right now with Magic Find. That's all you need to do. Beyond that, I just kind of went with resistance charms. You can see right here, all of our charms are pretty crappy. I got a barb torch. That's an amazing thing about running a barb. Not many people do it, so they are the cheapest torches on the market. I got this, I think, honestly, for like 0.4 high runes, maybe 0.3, I can't remember. We got just really cheap geeds, and we were off to the races. You can notice here, most of our gear we're using is either crafted or rare right now. So you can see we got, these are just self-found. These, again, self-found. I didn't even slam it just yet. They're really crappy rolls, to be honest. We did get a 13 string of ears with lightning resist, which was really cool of a find. We bought a pair of Hellmouth for like 3 Worldstone shards. We got a Rake Ores with 2 socket corruption, again, only for like a mal, I think, in total. And then we got this Atmas with life after each kill, I think legitimately for 5 Worldstone shards or an It was dirt cheap. So you can see here, most of our stuff is extremely cost effective. I think I found 3% fire damage charm so far, self-found. That's all I got. Everything else is resistances and stuff to get us up to as high resistances as possible. And of course, whatever physical damage reduction we can, we get. Now, I was running an Act 2 Merc for the physical damage reduction, but he was just dying too much, so I just went to an Act 5 with a self-found Lacerator. He seems to survive well. He's got some physical, he's got 28% physical damage reduction. He's got all the all-res he needs, and it just ended up being a really good thing. And again, day one, all we did was do pits right here. We just farmed pits over and over and over until we found stuff we needed. Again, we were getting about 200 magic find. Ooh, getting some uniques already. I don't know if I actually care about that. Probably shield even good. You know, I'll just grab it just because I don't want to be stupid while I'm recording and not do something. But yeah, we weren't having all these explosions. It was just a pure physical damage build. And then after that, after we got our Rapture, I decided to do something I have never been able to do as a physical damage dealer, and that is farm one of the best places in both vanilla content in D2R and in this. And I went to Arcane Sanctuary, and this is where I started to find a bunch of high rune drops, because these specters right here, they're immune to physical damage. However, once we unlock Rapture, 1 proc from Fissure would kill all the ghosts that are within range. So yeah, it doesn't matter that they're immune to physical. It doesn't matter if we break their physical immunity. Essentially what we found is a ton of charms, and we found a lot of high runes. We found, I think, Vex, I think we found a Low, and I think we found a Sir, and that's kind of gone into paying for a lot of stuff. Now, one thing I will say, remember how when we were originally talking about this build, I made sure to let you guys know that Dragon was a much cheaper option than going for something like a 15% Ormus with 3 sockets and 3 fire facets. That's because I knew somebody would build a Dragon in the early game and realize, hey, this isn't actually helping my build, whether it be a Paladin or like a Bellow Barb or something like that. I knew someone would build it and sell it for cheap. So right here, Sir Low and the Archon, it's essentially like a 3 high rune item. I managed to snag it for 1.5 because the person just wanted to move it quickly. I knew this was going to happen, so we essentially got this for 1.5 high runes cheaper than we should have, which has been a really nice pickup. Now, one thing I will say with this build, if you are doing mapping and things like that, after you do these couple of things, because again, these ghosts are very high payoff between charms and high runes. They have a very small loot table that they can drop from, which means they have a much higher chance to drop all these high runes, which is amazing. I kind of want to just see if I can find some real quick. I haven't farmed it in a couple days now, but it was a very good lucrative thing. We also got keys off of the summoners here, which was cool. So one thing I'll say is this build is extremely safe. It's running very well with how budget we have it going right now. And I think my next investment is going to be something like saving up for an Act 2 Infinity Merc. I don't think I'm going to go Act 4. I think Act 2 is going to be the way to go. But we were very quickly able to get into mapping on this character. So mapping is where you want to be once you get even this partial fire setup done, because you're going to blast through these things so freaking quickly. So yeah, I don't really care about these things. Nothing good there. We got another map. You can see how many maps we've already farmed up. It's actually kind of insane how many we've managed to get here. We even have some resources left over, and we even have some additional keys. We found some of the new resources. There's lots of stuff we got positive going on here. One thing I will say, once we got to bossing in the maps, oh man, killing single targets is really rough with this leap build. So what I did was I went Bellow Barb for our offhands, because again, I just put like 1 point in Frenzy, and 1 point in Frenzy with dual Flame Bellow. They don't have to be anything special. Again, I think I got this one for 5 Worldstone Shards and this for 1 Worldstone Shard. Like, it was dirt cheap. And essentially on swap, I either go Frenzy, or I do have a fully synergized Bash over here too. So I did put my full synergy here. So if I want to bash, what I'll do sometimes is I'll Frenzy and then just drop one of these swords out and just bash the target to death. Very, very helpful. Trying to get to the fastest break point is hard with Bash, but it is definitely possible. Now, I think what I'm going to do is show you guys one last thing. I'm going to show you guys what mapping looks like right now for us. I really like Chaldean map, so that's what we're going to do first here. So let's get this going. Let's see if we can find something with some decent density. Don't like that stuff. Let's re-roll this map here. We can get something a little bit better. 69, not great. I like keeping one of every rune, so if you guys wonder why I switch this out, I like my placement, so I try to do it in a very good way that we're not losing out on too much. It's got to have some decent density, though. 82 is not horrible. You have max life. I don't like that. 80, they have magical. You know what? This will be fine. Ghosts are nice to have in there, and just for the sake of this video, to make it go quicker, we'll just go ahead and take what we got, and I'm going to show you guys how this looks mapping. And you can see here, this is overall pretty budget gear, all things considering. Now, I know a lot of people probably say this is very expensive, but if you are playing, like I said, I've only played like 12 to 16ish hours so far, you can see this build is amazing. And what you do is you never stop leaping. You are always moving forward. Always moving forward, trying to get as far ahead as possible, because a lot of our fire damage now is going to be behind us. And you see we're summoning tons of these hydras now too, and you can see how tanky this build is as well. It is extremely tanky. We don't really have any issues in survivability at all here. And yeah, we want to kill these ghosts too, because again, high rune chances, that's what we're here for. Getting high runes is always the best because, well, you don't have to trade them in for anything. You just already have the currency. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to go back and like loot every flawless and everything. I'll do that later myself if I want to. I just want to show you guys what an average run kind of looks like here. So we're going to do minimal pickups, but again, a lot of these are going to be really fast runs for us, and sticking to T1 is the smart play right now. You can farm tier 3 with this already. It's just going to be a little bit slow because of the increase of difficulty and everything. But again, the higher the density, the faster you're going to be able to clear this. I know it sounds weird. Usually you think the more density, it might take a little longer, but the fact that we're able to just proc so many more things with the more enemies that are on the battlefield, it just becomes that much quicker. So hopefully I don't miss anything, because I'm not wearing my headphones either. So let's just hope I get this going pretty good here and I don't screw up anything. So again, we're just going to keep doing these small leaps, and we're going to let everybody die to all this fire damage we're leaving behind. There's no need to single target jump on anything constantly. Most things will chase you, so even if you get uniques or anything like that, or the rares or stuff, they're most likely going to follow you, and what that means is they're going to continue to run through all your fire, all of your procs, everything behind you. You do not need to, like with normal leap, you have to like focus target your leap on a single target if it's an elite unique that you need to kill for the extra drops. This one, it's really nice that you can just hold right click. I've literally just held right click this entire time. So anybody who has issues with, you know, carpal tunnel, anything like that, all you have to do is click once in a while and just grab some loot, and then you just keep going. I haven't let go of right click when I'm attacking. What you just need to make sure you do is you're not hovering over any items when you do this. I always play with all items on, which might be annoying for you guys to watch, but there's already enough stuff on my screen anyway. It's not like it's triggering me or anything. This is just the safe play for me. This is the way I like to do it, so I don't miss out on anything. And as you guys can see, this is very smooth running to get this entire run done. Like, yes, you still have to loot stuff. You have to be careful when you do decide to pick things up, because it can be a little dangerous. But again, there's no need to constantly leap on the same target like you do with the normal leap variant of this build. So just keep that in mind as you're going through this. You can see sometimes there's stuff that lives behind. A lot of times though on these maps you have to make it like a one-time lap around anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But again, if you get very good density here, you're gonna have a ridiculous amount of procs filling up the entire screen with fire procs, which is ultimately what we want to have. So we'll venture a little bit over this way. I kind of want to go straight to the boss so I can show you guys the single target issue we do have. You can take the boss and continue to drag them through the second half of the run, so just keep that in mind too. You can just drag them along with you. That's not something that's difficult either. It's definitely something you can get done by yourself. We've already filled up our freaking inventory. Holy cow. Yeah, we don't care about that. Give me those boots. I need more boot drops. Boot drops are good for us. And you see here, as far as density goes, we're clearing most of it out. I'd say at least 90% is dying, if not more. So it's not like something like some of these types of builds where it's like, oh yeah, you're not really clearing enough of the stuff to really make it worthwhile. Sometimes you do leap on the target over and over, but yeah, just keep that in mind. This is definitely a very AFK style gameplay, because you notice too, we haven't really had too many issues with our health or anything. Occasionally you'll come across some like ranged enemies that do actually do quite a bit of damage to you. But having things like, you know, reduced physical damage taken from ranged units and stuff, having things like your string of ears is going to be very helpful. And eventually when we do get back to a, when we get back to an Act 2 Defiance Merc, we're going to have even more physical damage reduction, which is going to be really good for us for survivability. And at that point, we'll also have our nice Infinity built, which is going to make our damage go up even more. So you can see the boss is already aggro to us. We don't really care about that. We're just going to go around and make sure we kill mainly all the ranged units that are around, because we just want to make sure we're not going to take extra damage when we single target fight him. Again, these are just things we want to clear out. We want to get this all done before we go up against the boss. And in the meantime, he is following us, and he's taking damage from all of these fissures, all of these meteors, molten boulders, hydras, everything, and he's just continuing to follow us, so that is perfectly fine. But you'll notice with his health here, it doesn't go down quickly. So what we do is we just swap over to the flame bellows, and then we get decent single target damage. Now, is it anything crazy? Absolutely not. You can even bash too if you want. But the nice thing is you're going to get a lot of procs from your other items too, so you're continuing to do a lot of fire damage. And you see right there, it wasn't all that bad. It was actually pretty decent of a run right there, so that is decent. And let's go finish out this clear. I actually let my shouts drop off because I wasn't quite paying attention to what we were doing here. So you can see as we're jumping back through stuff, there's a couple enemies here and there that do survive. It's very rare that it does happen though, so just keep that in mind. It's not going to be like an occurrence that always happens. If you're really paying attention to what you're doing, you'll probably have near 100% clear rate on this. And as you guys can see, this build is pretty flawless in the survivability. Like, there's really no risk in dying. The only risk we had was against the boss, the map boss, and that's just because he does a lot of damage. But you notice we have a full belt of full rejuice from farming Act 1 and Pit and everything, so even if we have to, we have a lot of emergency hits here. The only downside is with Leap, much like Whirlwind, while you're in your Leap animation, you cannot use your potion, so please be careful. Sometimes you do have to like literally take your hand off your Leap, like you have to sit and pause for a second, then use your item. That's sometimes what happens. But yeah, I mean, right there, we're in the game for 18 minutes. Definitely wasn't an 18-minute run though. It was very quick, and we were able to loot too, and we got a bunch of stuff. So this is essentially what I'd say 12 to 16 hours worth of gameplay goes. As far as kills goes, we're at about 60,000 monster kills, so not a crazy high amount. And again, most of this gear, very budget. You don't need the dragon. You really don't. Just taking the dragon out of the situation, the only expensive item is the Rapture Ogre Maul, Vex, Jaw, Low. That's essentially 3 high runes when you get the base and everything included too. And remember, you can use an F base because it does not use up durability when you are jumping. So let me know what you guys think. This is the kind of like update to our video, and I can't wait till it gets even stronger. We even have a bunch of cow maps already stored up. If you guys see right here, I've already found 3 cow maps so far, so we're going to keep saving those up, and we're going to use standard of heroes. We're going to corrupt them. We're going to do all that fun stuff and continue on. But this is probably the one thing that I have changed since our guide video. Throwing on flame bellows that are very cheap and inexpensive to trade for means a huge amount of damage from frenzy, both in procs and everything else, and it'll only get stronger. Even heck, that level 22 firestorm that it procs, it's gonna get stronger once we have a full inventory of 3% fire skill damage charm. So hopefully the next day we can get our infinity built. That would be amazing. Hope you guys enjoy this one. If you have any comments or questions, leave it down below. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.